everyone, this is Madeline with Madeline Bell Artistry. Thanks for coming by. If you're new to my channel, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you would like and subscribe and leave a comment, I greatly appreciate it. If you're coming back, thank you so much for being part of this art journey with me. I've been having a great time communicating with all of you and reading and answering to your comments. So today I'm going to be doing not a painting, obviously. What I'm going to be doing is I ran out of the pearls paints that I've been using to create my pearl pours. So I'm going to be creating a new batch, and I'm walking you through how I create it, and hopefully this helps you if you want to go ahead and use the formula. I say it a couple of times as I walk through the process, but I do give full credit to Sarah Taylor, and I make sure you check out her link below. I will link the exact video where she talks about some of these processes on how to make these base paints, okay? The base puddle paint. So, okay, without further ado, let's get going and mixing. Okay, so here we have it, the recipe. So this is, it's got a little stir stick here, and this is a 2.5 quart. And I have a lid for it. I just got this at the local hardware store. And I'm gonna make quite a bit of this. I got a 2.5 quart. You can make less. And but for this one holds 64 fluid ounces. The formula that I'm gonna be using is 1 part paint, 1 to 2 parts Floetrol, quarter pouring medium, 1/2 of the satin enamels, and 1/4 GAC800. So by doing those parts, I will be able to actually double my recipe and get about 48 fluid ounces. And I'll walk you through how I'm going to do that. So first, I'm going to start with doing the 1 part paint. So we're going to call each one of these lines a part, is what I'm going to do. And for my paint, I'll put this aside for a moment. I'm going to be using Artist Loft. And this is a titanium white. Now this one here it has I don't know if you see that, the year on it. It's 2021. And Sarah Taylor put a very good comment on this. It's been reformulated, I believe, since 2020. So make sure you look at the date in your bottle. And for that reason, if you have a later date before 2020, you only need this. But after 2020, following Sarah Taylor's recipe, we're going to add in 1/2 and 1/2 to make our 1 part. We're going to use this apple barrel white, and this just got at the local Walmart. So for the 1 part, we're going to do 8 ounces. So it'll be 4 of this and 4 of this. And then for the Floetrol, it's just Floetrol. I'll get my bottle out, I'll show you. So me this right here, and I'm going to use about maybe 16 ounces of this, and I already have that here poured out in a cup, and I've strained it, and I've just used this strainer. And these strainers I just got from the dollar store, just to make sure that there wasn't any lumps or clumps in the Floetrol. So this is what this is, and that's ready to go. For my pouring medium, I'm going to be using Liquitex pouring medium. This one is a gloss. And the GAC800. Just got a small bottle of that here. And for the satin enamels, that's this right here. This one is the Behr satin enamels, and it is the 7300, which is right there. And it is the interior deep base. And what this means is it doesn't have any tint to it. It looks like it's on the white side, but it's not, it's untinted. And this is really good if I wasn't going to be making a white flood. I would omit these paints and just make my pouring medium with these items that I had on this side of my table. And then I can use this for other color base. I'm making a white base, so I'm just going to go ahead and use my white paints. Okay. And then, so here we go. I'm gonna start, like I said, with this Artist Loft. And I'm gonna stand up a bit, make sure I can see. So I'm gonna come up and I want one part. So actually, since I'm doubling this recipe, and make sure I'm clean in here. Don't have any debris to begin with, so I'm clean. Since I'm doubling my recipe, I'm going to go ahead and put 8 ounces of the Artist Loft and then 8 ounces of the Apple Barrel white paint. So go ahead and put that in here. And you could do this if you didn't have one of these quarts and you're just doing it in a cup in a smaller load. You know, just use a scale to figure out what your parts are. And, you know, if you're using ounces, just stay with ounces, milliliters. Don't move back and forth between ounces and milliliters. So there's 8 of that. Okay, get this closed. Then I have my white paint here from Apple Barrel White. Into 8 ounces of this. So I'm just going to bring it up to the 16, of course. I have a second jug in case I don't have enough of this because it's running kind of low. We'll see how we're doing on this. And when I get done, I'll revisit and show you the paintings that I created with these and why this is so awesome. Really joining that journey has been remarkable. I'm going to need a little bit more of this, so I'll fast forward while I open up another jar. Okay, I'm back. Okay, then go ahead and put the rest in here. Get to that 16 point. Okay, here we go. Next, I'm going to go in with my Floetrol. And I need just about as much as the Floetrol as I do the paint. And hopefully my 16-ounce cup is true. If not, I'll just pour some more in. So we're going to go to 24. And then 32. I'm just going to go ahead and put it all in there. Just all, even if it's just a little bit more, it's going to be okay. It's not going to hurt it any. It has 1 ounce or 2 extra, it looks like. Okay. Put that to the side. And I'm going to stop right here as far as pouring anything in and just give this a quick stir and get the 2 paints and the Floetrol incorporated. So I'll be coming right back. Okay, I'm back. So I'm ready now for the satin enamel. Pour this in here. And I needed 1/2 part, so 0.5. But since I'm doubling that, I'm going to do 1 full part because the others had 2 full parts. So I was at the 32 mark, which was there. And I'm just going to bring it up to the next marker. And I'll show you this before I stir it, just so you can see it's not white. I'm trying to get that to a stopping point. This is a good idea to wear gloves with these because you may be getting your hands in it. And you want to have your protection. So I'll pour some of this white on top of that. And I'm going to go around and get you, just so you can see this before I put it away. and bring in for a close-up on that. Okay. So as you can see, that's what I just poured in. And this is the paint from before. And you see the difference in the color. So this is not white. They do sell a white, which you can use, but this is actually untinted. It won't change the color. It may look gray, but it's actually untinted. You'll see how it's taking the color, the pigment, and not changing the pigment at all. And like I said, the good thing about that is I could have done this with another color, it just says paint, right? And then here is the Behr's on the inside. You can see that it's not white. It's not painting the sides white. You can see it's translucent almost. So that's in there now. I'm gonna set you back down and we can keep going. Now the last two items that are left is my GAC800 and the Pouring Medium. And this is where I don't think it needs to be absolutely precise, but you do need them. So I'm gonna go with the Pouring Medium, and I need about half. So these two together are gonna make a part. These two together are gonna make a part that's gonna bring me up to that 48 mark. And again, just kind of eyeballing it. And yeah, I'm making quite a bit, so it may seem like I'm pouring a lot, but I am making a lot of this paint right now. And my GAC. This is what's gonna help against crazing and crackling. So I do find that that's gonna be very important. The Pouring Medium obviously helps with the pour itself, the consistency. Now to this, because it's so large, after you get done getting it fully incorporated, you would use water, which is, use distilled water. Don't use your tap water, use distilled water. But I do not add water at this point. What I do is I set this aside, and when I'm gonna go do a painting, I pour out what I'm gonna use. And at that point is when I add the water. And I do that just so, water has a tendency to grow bacteria and stuff, and I don't want it to be in that paint. I just don't want it. And sometimes I need it thicker than others. And it allows me that flexibility to decide later, depending on what project I'm working on, how much of water I would need to put in. If I'm making a really large one and I need this much of this, then I have a lot of room to later add the water. So it just depends. This is just going to be a standby that I'm going to add. So I'll bring you back up on the table so you can see the consistency, how it is currently. Okay, so here it is. I'm still stirring it. Haven't stirred it long enough, and I'll go off camera and finish stirring it, or speed this up. Either way, but you want to just make sure you're getting all around the areas. And what's really good about these is because the edges on this is very smooth, and the bottom doesn't have a lot of ridges. It really makes it much easier to get it very, very well incorporated. And that's what you want to make sure you do. And when you're working with the white color, it's going to be hard to see if you have it all. So it's a good rule of thumb just to keep mixing and mixing and mixing until you feel like you've mixed long enough. And scrape your sides, just kind of like when you're working with cake batter, or, mixing in the kitchen. You want to make sure that you're really getting all those areas well incorporated. So without putting water in, this is the current consistency. Hopefully you can see that. It runs right off the stick. It does have a mound on the mound, but it goes right back in. So this is not going to need a lot of water when I get ready to go. But it can take quite a bit. So just depending on, again, what the process is that I'm working on. And I have one video of where I did a cloud painting. And this is the same formula. I'll always do, even though I've made it exactly as I made it before, I'll always use a test canvas. I'll get a 5x7 board or something and just make sure that I don't need to tweak it one way or the other. And when I say tweaking, if I'm not getting the pearl reactions that I'm looking for, it may need more of the satin enamels, but just a little, it goes a long way. Or some more of the paint if it's got too much. So with the satin enamels, you want to kind of like put less in the beginning and then add later if you need more. And not the other way around. All right, so there it is. I'm gonna leave that be. This is done. It's ready to make a few paintings. And I'm not gonna, well, I'll just run it off the side here. And I'll show you a couple of paintings that I made with the last formula. Or with the last batch. Same formula, last batch. So, but to recap, before I do that, we did 1 part paint, and we talked about the new artist Loft. I can't, those words don't come out of my mouth too easily. The new artist Loft formula and the solution that Sarah Taylor provided, and I'll make sure to link her website or her YouTube channel so you can see that. And that was one part of that, one part of the Floetrol, and then 1/2 of the satin enamel, 1/4 of the pouring medium, and 1/4 of the GAC800. I doubled the recipe for this using the 8-ounce line as my points. So one part of the paint was to here twice. And then the same with the Floetrol brought us up to here. And the satin enamels brought us up to there, or the 8. And then lastly, we finished off with the GAC800 and the pouring medium together, and it just went to 1/2. So it's almost at the 48 mark. This is a 64-ounce tub, plenty of room to add water later if I'm going to use the whole thing. So one of the paintings that I did, where I got a lot of pearls, is this one here. Right? And I just used 2 colors on this one. I just used a Prussian blue and a gold. And then, of course, the white. So I did that there. And I'll bring 2 more over. Even when you're using the same formula, you can get totally different results. So Prussian blue, gold, and the white pearl mix we just made. This was also done that same way. And I brought in some more of that blue just to highlight it. Cells a little bit smaller. So it all depends on how much of the colored paint you put in and how far you stretch it. This one obviously got stretched quite a bit. This one did as well. But this one I actually added additional satin enamels to see what would happen. And that's what happened. I took over the whole thing. And then this is one of the originals as well. As you can see, it played there pretty well together. Created that beautiful painting there. And the very first one that I did, again, just with the 2 colors. At the end, I added the that seafoam green that you see coming through here. But and then I manipulated the last 2 you just saw with the palette knife quite a bit as well. See these lines that I drew in myself and through here. So you can still play with it and, you know, as it's developing and help it along as much as you'd like. So that's the first one I did with this formula that I just mixed up a new batch of. So I'll bring you back up here. Hopefully you can see me. I'm not sure. Let me stand back. So that's it. Thanks for joining me with this, and I hope that was helpful. I will make sure to put in how I mixed it in the description below in case you want to go ahead and, take on the challenge and mix it yourself. The Behr's, it's just at Home Depot. It is a Home Depot brand, so you have to go to Home Depot to get it. The GAC800 and the Liquitex Pouring Medium, all the other products, the Floetrol, the Artist Loft, that you can buy wherever you find the best deal. And then again, the apple barrel, that's the one that I didn't look for it anywhere else, but I was told it's only sold at Walmart, so I didn't look anywhere else for it. I just went there. So there it is. I hope you enjoy this and you enjoy the journey of making your own pearl paintings. Thanks everyone. Bye.